So hello students, organic chemistry. I'll upload all the series of videos based on this chapter one by one. In this video, let us talk about what is organic chemistry and what is the discussion about organic chemistry. There are 118 elements are there in the periodic table, yes or no? But there is only one element which has its own branch, that is carbon. So organic chemistry is based on carbon compounds only. So here in this video, the discussion is about why only carbon? Why only carbon has this separate branch of chemistry, separate discussion. What is the reason? Everything we'll discuss in this video. Let us start with the main heading, organic chemistry. Why it is called as, why the branch of study is called as organic chemistry? Why? Because students, in the olden times, they thought the compounds which are coming from organism, which means living things, the compounds which are coming from living things like plants or animals. So they named these compounds as organic compounds. Why? Because they thought these compounds only come from organisms, that means living things. So such compounds are called as organic compounds. And the compounds which are coming from the living things are mainly made up of carbon. So that's why we have a separate branch of chemistry for that carbon compounds, which is called as organic chemistry. Of course, that this definition is changed, but the name remains the same. Got the clarity? So coming to the point where we can see these organic compounds in the nature, I'm saying from the living things. So we are also living things, yes or no? Are we made up of organic compounds? Means absolutely yes. We are all made up of organic compounds only. Examples: carbohydrates, proteins, vitamins, lipids, amino acids, everything, whatnot. The life is based on carbon only. So we are living on this planet Earth. We are carbon based life. The element carbon is called as the element of life. So the speciality of carbon we'll discuss in this video slowly, but let's see other compounds also. So only living things are made up of carbon compounds means absolutely no. Not only living things. There are other compounds also we're getting from the nature. For example, petroleum products. Yes or no? N number of products are there. Petrol, diesel, kerosene, oily compounds, as well as coal tar, bitumen. So all these are naphthalene, and cosmetics also, cosmetic industry. All the lipsticks, hair creams, gels, everything, all, what is the ultimate point is carbon compound only. Even the medicines also. Medicines are also carbon compounds only. Plastics, synthetic fibers, whatnot, you name it. Everything. This is a plastic. This is also carbon compound only. Even this body is also made up of carbon only. That means we are made up of carbon compound. We are all surrounded by carbon compounds. That means we are utilizing carbon compounds. So if these many compounds are there, definitely we need to study about these compounds or not. Definitely we need to do the research about these compounds or not. That's why carbon has a separate branch of study that is called as organic chemistry. So students, mainly the life is made up of, life means life forms anywhere. It's a bacteria or it's a human being or plant, animal, anything, mainly made up of these key elements. They are called as SNOPs. Carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, sulfur. These are the 6 key elements present in almost all the life forms on this planet Earth. Okay, so our discussion is about which element, students? Our discussion is about the element carbon. So what is so speciality about carbon? Why carbon based life? Why we are living the carbon based life? There are many elements are there, students, yes or no? But why only carbon has this special nature or to create a life or to create the compounds which are used for the life? So why? What is the so speciality? Let's talk about the basic things about carbon. Carbon atomic number is 6. That means it contains 6 protons, 6 electrons and 6 neutrons. And its mass number is 12. 6 protons plus 6 neutrons, right? So that is carbon's minimum basic details. As well as, let us write the carbon's configuration. Carbon's electronic configuration is, students, 1s2, 2s2, 2p2. This is the electronic configuration. You already know the chemical reactivity is based on the electronic configuration only, yes or no? So the uniqueness is coming from its configuration. So this is the ground state configuration. The excited state configuration is 2s1, 2p3. That means one orbital here. Here we have 3 orbitals. So total how many electrons are there in the valency shell of carbon, students? You can see there are total 4 electrons are there in the valency shell of carbon. Carbon belongs to the 14th group, carbon family, yes sir, in the periodic table. So these 4 electrons which are present in the valency shell of carbon are reactive. They form 4 bonds and they form a stable compound. So So then why not other elements also reacting? Na? Hydrogen valency is 1, oxygen valency is 2, nitrogen valency is 3. What's so special? The speciality is, students, carbon can form the strongest covalent bonds. Carbon can form strongest covalent bonds. The reason for this is, students, remaining elements, they might have some kind of reactivity left in their configuration. For example, oxygen. What is oxygen's configuration? 1s2, 2s2, 2p4. Its valency is 2, but 2 lone pair of electrons are there. Nitrogen, 1 lone pair of electron is there. Chlorine, almost 3 lone pair of electrons are there. Yes or no? So because of these reasons, because of the lone pairs or because of the bond distances, because of the atomic sizes, all the other elements can form weak bonds. Not weak means they're strong only, but comparatively weak. But carbon can form the strongest covalent bonds. That's why what is the hardest substance on this planet Earth? Diamond. What diamond is made up of? Carbon only. Pure carbon. Only carbon. So it forms 4 sigma bonds with other carbons. That carbon bonds again sigma bonds, other carbon. Ultimate infinite number of carbons are there. Yes, sir, students, got the clarity? So here the main factor is electronegativity factor. The electronegativity of carbon is 2.5. What is electronegativity? The tendency of an electron to attract the electrons towards itself is called as electronegativity. In the periodic table, we have elements which are highly electronegative and we have elements which are very less electronegative. That means some elements can lose electrons, some elements can gain electrons. But carbon's electronegativity is 2.5. It doesn't have capacity to lose. It doesn't have capacity to gain. Then what will it happen? It has capacity to share its electrons. That's why carbon can form strongest bonds. So that kind of reactivity is not there for carbon. It will not show any kind of willingness to lose. It doesn't show any kind of willingness to gain also. So carbon valency is 4. You can see there are no empty orbitals. There are no lone pair of electrons. 4 electrons. All are singly occupied. It can form 4 bonds. And all the 4 bonds are very, very strong bonds. Because of this reason, carbon can form single bonds. Carbon can form double bonds. Carbon can form triple bonds. I am not saying if a carbon compound is formed, that is completely unreactive. No, it is also reactive. But comparatively with other compounds, carbon bondings are very, very strong. So students, here one more point. Sir, why only carbon? Under the carbon in the periodic table in the 14th group, there is silicon also, na? Silicon valency also 4. Its configuration is 3s2, 3p2, 3s1, 3p3. It also having 4 valence electrons. So why not it is forming all the big molecules like carbon? Why? Because students, silicon atomic size is bigger. That means where the valence electrons are present in the carbon? Second shell. In silicon, where the valence electrons are present? In the third shell. Third shell, not only 3s, 3p, there is the space for 3d orbitals also. That gives the reactivity, that gives the instability for the silicon. It cannot form larger number of molecules. What is the reason? The space for the 3d excitation as well as large bigger molecules is the reason for the instability. So silicon cannot form large number of molecules. Understood? So carbon, is there any empty space after 2p? Is there any empty space after 2p? No, nothing is there. So all 4 orbitals are there. 4 are singly occupied. 4 bonds. It can form single bonds, double bonds and triple bonds. Alkanes, alkenes and alkanes. Because of this reason, carbon can form n number of compounds. There is uncountable. There is a study that carbon can form 10 to the power of 65 compounds. That many combinations are possible only with carbon. Understood, students? So if carbon compounds are possible, what is the relation with life? I'll tell you. There is one unique property which is followed by mainly carbon, not only carbon, mainly carbon. That property is called as catenation. Catenation means the self-linking capacity of carbon. The self-linking capacity of carbon in order to form large number of molecules. In order to form longest chain of molecules is called as catenation. That means carbon can bond with another carbon, that we know. This carbon can bond with another carbon also. This carbon, another. There is no end. There is no end. This is life. These are nothing but life forms. DNA, look at the DNA. Just Google it. DNA molecule. You can Google it. What is the molecule of retina? What is the molecule of several hormones? What is the formula of paracetamol? You can Google it. You can find These are all carbon compounds. Because of this reason only, we are also possible. The life is possible because of larger number of carbon molecules. Understood, students? So is this catenation, is it followed by only carbon? I already have told you. Sir, why only carbon showing catenation? It forms stronger covalent bonds. Why other elements are not forming catenation? Why? Because they form weaker covalent bonds. Sir, why? Because they have some empty orbitals, or because of they having some lone pair of electrons. Whatever the reason, they have some kind of reactivity left in their configuration. But carbon's electronic configuration and electronegativity factor also. Some maybe an atom is a small size, one orbital, no lone pair, nothing is there, only one electron is there, hydrogen. Then its reactivity, its electronegativity factor. So electronegativity factor is also one of the main factor which decides this strongness of covalent bonds. Understood, students? Got the clarity? So is only carbon shows this catenation? Means no. Oxygen also can show catenation. Oxygen maximum, it combines with how many oxygens? 3. Ozone. Yes or no? O2 is there, ozone. As well as sulfur can form S8 molecule. Phosphorus, P4 molecules. And phosphorus combines with another 3 phosphorus. Like that, all these are possible. But carbon can combine with another carbon to infinite extent. That's why the life is possible. We are all made up of molecules only. Which molecules? Carbon molecule. Does it mean, sir, are we made up of only carbon? Are we made up of pure carbon? Means no. Then what are we made up of? That we'll discuss in the next video. I hope you got the clarity about the speciality of carbon to form all these life forms. Thank you, students.